What's up and welcome back. I'm John Stark, back from MovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and today I'm rolling on with my Netflix March Madness selections of films that I've enjoyed from Netflix that have audio description because they're Netflix originals, and I just haven't reviewed them yet, proving that Netflix has good, great, or excellent movies. Really, I've only kind of stumbled once, and it was sort of a cold recommend. Somebody was like, "You should see this movie," and I was like, "All right." And I went in because I was like, "Oh my God, that's a great cast and a great director." So pretty much I'm going to present one short, but the rest of them are going to be good. I went back to this one, and we're at the land of steady habits. And you're probably thinking to yourself, "What?" This movie did kind of hit with like like a silent fart that wasn't even deadly. It's just like I don't think many people know. I searched for this movie in IMDb and I typed in The Land of Steady Habits, which is such a specific title. It wasn't even the number one search result for the title. It made me go down like 8 choices before I found before I found the film actually called The Land of Steady Habits. I was like, what on earth? Why is Land of the Lost higher than? Did you mean Land of the Lost? No, I meant the Land of. Oh, there it is. Why is it all way down here? Anyway, it stars Ben Mendelssohn, Edie Falco, Charlie Tahan, Connie Britton, Bill Camp, uh, Elizabeth Marvel, Thomas Mann. I think that's enough. Victor Slezak, if you know who that is. Um, and it's one of the reasons why you should care, maybe, is this, directed by Nicole Holofcener, who actually has amassed a pretty decent amount of movies that are pretty good, and I tend to like her stuff. So I think that's one of the reasons why I liked The Land of Steady Habits is I just generally like her as a director. Sort of like if you're a fan of like Noah Baumbach and especially like the very Noah Baumbach-y things, um, or I'm trying to think of some other directors that are sort of adjacent to these duo. Like Noah has stepped out of his comfort zone and done some stuff like White Noise, Marriage Story that felt a little bit less than a lot of like the Squid and the Whale and Meyerowitz stories, stuff that he had been doing. Nicole, for the most part, has pretty much been doing the same thing for all of her movies, and sometimes I really love what she's got. Like I'm a big fan of Enough Said. Um, Please Give with Oliver Platt, I thought was a good movie. So, and I like this. I think Ben Mendelsohn is a really good actor, and giving him the opportunity to grow. I think he's an actor that if you gave him the right role, he would get an Oscar nomination. I think he's good enough and respected enough as an actor that if he just had the right role, he would end up at the Oscars. Um, and this movie highlights him pretty well. He plays kind of it's sort of a coming of middle age story, coming of coming of a midlife crisis. It feels like the coming age version of a midlife crisis movie. So we find his character is sort of reached a point in life where he's now divorced from his wife, and he's got a teen son who's kind of a little bit of a loser and needs to figure out what he's doing with life. And he got kicked out of the house, which is where his ex-wife lives with her new boyfriend. Edie Falco and Bill Camp are those two. And he's sort of left to his own devices in a smaller place, all to himself, trying to figure out what it is to do. And, there's all these complications. He ends up befriending a young, a youth played by Charlie Tahan, who uh, you may remember from him being in Charlie St. Cloud back in the day with Zac Efron. He's grown up, obviously, but yeah, that's where Charlie came from. And he forms this weird bond slash relationship with Charlie, and his character is in and out of rehab and sort of has a drug addiction problem, which Ben Mendelsohn is all about. He's like, you know what, I got nothing else to do, so he leads, he's in on it too. He's very much this fucked up, lost child who doesn't know where he's going to go aimlessly for the rest of his life, and has not really angry or aggressive interactions with anybody, but mostly just can't be motivated to do much of anything. Sometimes he does the right thing, and sometimes he does the wrong thing, and things don't always go according to plan throughout the course of the movie. And we see that work out. It's just sort of like a character study of these people bouncing back and forth. It resembles maybe a little bit like life, which is a little bit what Nicole Holofcener always does, is she takes people who feel like they could be your friends and neighbors and tells their story, but tells it with some sort of an interesting twist to it. Like, what is it about these people that makes them interesting, that you would want to, like, if they were your friends and neighbors, that you'd be staring over the fence at them. It does have audio description. I thought the audio description was fine. I've seen this movie before. It's an old enough movie where this is my second time through on Land of Steady Habits. And it from what I remember, everything was fine. Like, I don't really have strong. If I saw this movie visually, I there's nothing about it that hits me from a visual perspective where I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that. Oh yeah, that was because it's just kind of a lot of interiors and homes and bouncing back and forth. It's not really the kind of movie that has a lot of strong visual presence to it. So it's mostly about the acting. It's a dramedy, with Ben Mendelsohn, and I thought he did a good job, and the supporting cast did a nice job around him supporting him. So I would recommend this. I don't know that it pops out for everybody as being the most amazing thing ever. It kind of has a higher Metacritic score than it does IMDb. The ratio, I don't think, is quite there. So I don't think general audiences are enjoying this quite as much as critics did. Like I said, I like Nicole Holofcener's stuff most of the time. Like 9 times out of 10, I think she does something that I'm going to enjoy. So it may just be me, but I think it's worth pointing out that she has a Netflix movie while I'm doing 31 great movies. A lot of times for Netflix, it's like if you work with the right directors and you bring them in on the projects, that's how they're getting their good movies. It does not always work out, because every once in a while Noah Baumbach decides to make White Noise, something like that, where somebody just whiffs it when you throw them a softball pitch, like an underhand pitch. They're like, oh my god, did you miss that? Anyway, yeah, it's every once in a while something just doesn't work out. But for the most people, for the most part, if you take these directors and let them do their thing, you get exactly what it is that they would do, even outside of the Netflix system. I like the fact that Nicole here makes a movie that doesn't feel like it would have been made. She didn't ask for more. She didn't come into Netflix and be like, oh, I want a $200 million budget for a movie that would make absolutely no sense to have a $200 million budget. She's perfectly content in making these stories, these human stories, with realistic protagonists. So, and that's just her jam, and she's fine with that. She's not trying to make, you know, the next big Netflix epic failure of a overly budgeted Electric State. Anyway, yeah, so I'm gonna give The Land of Steady Habits a B plus. I think it's pretty good. It's not my favorite Nicole Holofcener movie. It's also not my least favorite Nicole Holofcener movie. It's right there in the middle, and it's worth mentioning if I'm going through and saying there are 31 good, great, or excellent movies on Netflix, believe it or not. I would put this up there. So thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the other side.